Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fellow travelers on this journey called life, I want to remind you today of a truth so simple yet so powerful that it can transform the very course of your destiny. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in land, not in gold, not in stocks, not in technology. It is in you. Too many people live their lives chasing everything outside of themselves, believing that their worth is measured by what they own, what they wear, or what title sits on their desk. But history whispers a different story. It tells us of ordinary men and women who dared to believe in their unseen potential. They invested in themselves when no one else believed in them. Think of the farmer who wakes before dawn. He does not see a field of barren soil, he sees a harvest. He pours his sweat into the ground because he knows that hidden beneath that soil lies something greater than what the eye can see. You are that soil. Inside you are seeds of greatness waiting to be cultivated. I have met men who began with nothing but a dream. Women who carried only a vision in their hearts, and they invested in learning, in discipline, in perseverance. And today their names inspire generations. What was their secret? They did not wait for the world to validate them. They made the courageous choice to believe in themselves first. You see, nations are not built by governments alone. They are built by individuals. Teachers shaping young minds, fathers holding families together, mothers igniting courage in their children, leaders who serve, and workers who give their best even when nobody is watching. These are the true architects of society. And I say to you, if you want your family to rise, invest in you. If you want your community to rise, invest in you. If you want your nation to rise, invest in you. Because the strength of a people is never greater than the strength of the individuals who make it up. Do not underestimate the value of perseverance. Change never comes easy. But the very struggles you are facing today are the training ground for your tomorrow. Every hardship is shaping you. Every disappointment is teaching you. Every delay is refining you. Just because the harvest has not yet come does not mean the seed has died. My friend, hear me well, you are the most valuable asset on earth. When you develop yourself, your mind, your character, your vision, you carry within you the power to impact not only your life, but generations to come. So I challenge you today, take responsibility for your destiny, sharpen your gifts, guard your integrity, expand your knowledge, nurture your faith. Refuse to live small when greatness is calling your name. The world does not need another copy. It needs the original you. And the greatest tragedy in life is not death. It is living without ever discovering what was placed inside of you. So rise up, believe again, dream again, persevere again. Let this be the season where you no longer neglect the treasure you carry. And when you leave here today, remember this truth. Let it echo in your spirit. The greatest investment is you. And when you invest in yourself, the whole world profits. My friend, listen carefully. You are the greatest asset you will ever own. Not your bank account, not your house, not the car you drive, not even the certificates hanging on your wall. You are the most valuable investment on this earth. Think for a moment. Everything in this world, every invention, every building, every company was first born in the mind of a human being. Apple began in a small garage, not because of money, but because two young men believed that what they carried inside was greater than the limitations outside. Airplanes, skyscrapers, electricity, the very phone in your hand, it all came from people who chose to invest in themselves, to stretch their minds, to discipline their abilities. That means the greatest wealth is not buried in the ground. It is not locked in a vault. It is not traded on Wall Street. The greatest wealth is hidden inside of you, waiting to be discovered. You see, when you neglect yourself, you waste the most precious resource given to you by God. And yet, too many people spend more time polishing their shoes than sharpening their minds. They spend more money decorating their homes than cultivating their character. They put more effort into impressing people than investing in their future. That is why so many lie empty, even while surrounded by things. But let me tell you this truth, things cannot make you valuable. It is you who gives value to things. A car without a driver is just metal. A house without a family is just concrete. Money without wisdom is just paper. You are the one who brings meaning to everything you touch, because you are the asset. Let me bring this closer to you. Think about a seed. To the naked eye, it looks small, fragile, almost insignificant. But locked inside that tiny seed is a mighty tree, a forest, an orchard that can feed generations. That seed is no different from you. You may look ordinary on the outside, but inside you is potential that can shake nations, change families, build companies, and inspire lives. And yet, potential does not fulfill itself. A seed left in a drawer will never become a tree. It must be planted, watered, and nurtured. In the same way, your gift must be developed, your mind must be trained, Your spirit must be strengthened. Your skills must be refined. That is the investment that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Do you know why so many people envy others? Because they admire the fruit of someone else's investment while ignoring the seed in their own hands. They see the success, but do not see the discipline, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the courage it took to believe when no one else believed. The truth is, greatness is never accidental. It is the result of deliberate investment in yourself. I have met young men who started with no education, no connections, no money. But they made a choice to read, to study, to discipline their habits, to walk with the wise, and slowly they began to rise. I have seen women who were overlooked, underestimated, ignored. But they invested in their gift, they refined their voice, they believed in their vision, and today they are leaders, influencers, and role models. What changed? They understood the principle: you are the asset, and until you recognize your own worth, no one else will. So let me ask you, when was the last time you invested in your growth? When was the last time you set aside time to learn, to stretch, to sharpen your abilities? Do you spend more hours scrolling through the lives of others than building your own? Do you give more energy to entertainment than to education? Because whatever you feed will grow. If you feed your distractions, they will master you. But if you feed your mind, your spirit, your discipline, they will lift you. Understand this: the future does not belong to the strongest or even the wealthiest. The future belongs to those who are prepared. Preparation is proof that you value yourself. When you invest in knowledge, you are preparing for opportunities you have not yet seen. When you invest in your health, you are preparing for years you have not yet lived. When you invest in your character, you are preparing for relationships and positions you have not yet entered. This is why you cannot afford to neglect yourself. If you lose your house, you can build another. If you lose your job, you can find another. But if you lose yourself, if you abandon your own development, you will spend your life chasing what you were already designed to attract. You are not just flesh and bone. You are an idea wrapped in skin. You are a vision waiting for expression. You are a solution in search of a problem. You are a leader waiting for the right moment to rise. Do you know what truly changes the world? It is not only the speeches of presidents or the strategies of the wealthy. It is not only the power of kings or the decisions of governments. The true power of change is hidden in the lives of ordinary people who decide to rise above ordinary thinking. History proves this over and over again. Think about it. Every movement, every revolution, every invention, every transformation began with one person who looked just like everyone else, but thought differently. A young woman in a village who dared to dream of education for girls. A man working a simple job who believed he could design something that would serve millions. Parents who worked 2 jobs, not for themselves, but to give their children an opportunity they never had. These are not people the world calls heroes at first glance, but their impact is extraordinary. Let me bring this closer. A teacher in a classroom may feel unseen, undervalued, maybe even underpaid. But do you realize the influence in that one life? A teacher carries the power to shape a child's future, to ignite confidence, to unlock hidden talents. That one student may become a leader, a scientist, an artist, a president. And it all began because one ordinary teacher chose to give their best every single day. A mother in her kitchen raising children, guiding them with love, discipline, and wisdom might never see her name in headlines. But in her care, she is raising future leaders, doctors, thinkers, problem solvers. The quiet faithfulness of her ordinary days is writing the extraordinary story of tomorrow. Even a worker who shows up every morning to a job others call small, by doing it with integrity, with consistency, with excellence, is contributing to something larger than himself. You see, the greatness of a nation is not in its tall buildings or its powerful armies. It is in the spirit of ordinary citizens who decide to live with extraordinary responsibility. Do not let the world deceive you into thinking that greatness is reserved only for the few. Greatness is the birthright of all who choose to live intentionally. The janitor who sweeps a floor with excellence is already displaying greatness. The bus driver who treats passengers with respect is already carrying greatness. The young student who studies at night while others sleep is already walking toward greatness. These are ordinary people creating extraordinary impact. And here's the truth: you never know who is watching you. A child is watching how you handle pressure. A neighbor is watching how you respond to challenges. A colleague is watching how you treat others. The influence of your life is not measured by the stage you stand on, but by the lives you touch in the shadows. Think of a candle. A candle is small, fragile, ordinary. But when you light it in a dark room, it becomes extraordinary. It does not complain about its size, it simply shines. And in shining, it gives permission for others to see. That is what ordinary people do when they decide to live with purpose. They light up the darkness. The problem with so many of us is that we underestimate our influence. We say, I am just one person, I don't have much, I am not important. But the world you see around you is built by individuals who once thought the same until they discovered that their ordinary was the seed of the extraordinary. Do you realize that even the most powerful leaders were once children sitting in a classroom? They were once students trying to figure out life, once young men and women searching for direction. They were ordinary before their decisions made them extraordinary. So the real question is not, can you make an impact? The real question is, will you choose to? Will you choose to live with integrity in a time of compromise? Will you choose to serve even when no one claps? Will you choose to rise above excuses and give your best in the small things? Because it is in the small things that the extraordinary is born. Every great building begins with small bricks. Every mighty tree begins with a seed. Every movement begins with one voice. Every extraordinary story begins with an ordinary person who refuses to stay ordinary. There is a law of life that many forget. Nothing valuable comes without resistance. Every dream you carry, every goal you set, every vision that burns in your heart will be tested by the fires of difficulty. And the question is never whether you will face challenges. The question is whether you will persevere long enough to see the change on the other side. When you look at the stories of those who changed history, they all have one thing in common. They refused to quit. They pressed on when it hurt. They held on when it seemed impossible. They kept walking when the road was lonely. Perseverance is not a feeling, it is a decision. A decision to keep moving even when your strength is low, even when your resources are limited, even when your support is gone. Think about the farmer who plants seeds in the ground. After weeks of watering, there is still no visible sign of growth. The soil looks the same. The field looks empty. Yet the farmer does not stop because he understands a truth change is happening where the eye cannot see. Roots are forming in the darkness. The seed is breaking open in silence. And in time, the harvest will appear. That is what perseverance looks like. You may not see immediate results, but if you remain consistent, transformation is taking place beneath the surface. Too many people give up just before their breakthrough. They walk away from the process because they mistake delay for denial. They stop pressing because they confuse silence for rejection. But let me tell you, delay does not mean denial. Silence does not mean abandonment. The seed is working even when the soil looks still, and so is your perseverance. Do not forget, gold is refined by fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Champions are trained in adversity. The hardships you face are not designed to break you. They are designed to build you. Every struggle is adding weight to your strength. Every trial is sharpening your character. Every setback is preparing your comeback. Think about an athlete. He trains day after day, sweating, stretching, straining his muscles. Sometimes his body aches. Sometimes his mind wants to quit. But he keeps going because he understands that perseverance in training produces victory in competition. Without the discipline of perseverance, there is no glory in the arena. The same is true for life. Without perseverance, your dreams remain unfulfilled ideas. With perseverance, they become reality. I have met people who started businesses with little money, and for years they faced losses, rejection, and ridicule. Everyone told them to stop, but they pressed on, they adjusted, they learned, they kept trying, and in time the same business that was once mocked became the source of jobs for thousands. What made the difference? Not luck, not a chance. Perseverance. I have seen families restored because one person refused to give up on love, refused to stop praying, refused to stop believing. I have seen students who failed multiple times but kept studying, kept showing up, kept pushing, and today they are doctors, lawyers, engineers, and leaders. Perseverance is the bridge between failure and success. Let me ask you, how do you respond when life presses against you? Do you quit when it gets hard? Do you stop when it takes longer than expected? Or do you dig deeper and push further? Because real change does not come to the one who starts strong. It comes to the one who stays strong. Even nature teaches us this. Look at the butterfly. Before it can fly, it must struggle inside the cocoon. That struggle is painful. It looks cruel, but it is necessary, because the very act of pressing its wings against the cocoon is what gives the butterfly the strength to fly. If someone cuts the cocoon open to make it easier, the butterfly will emerge weak, unable to soar. Perseverance is what prepares it for flight. In the same way, the struggles in your life are preparing you for heights you cannot yet imagine. Without the pressure, you would not be ready for the responsibility of your destiny. Without the delays, you would not develop the patience required for leadership. Without the tests, you would not have the testimony that will inspire others. And remember, perseverance is not passive. It is not just waiting. It is active endurance. It is waking up each day and doing your part. Even when you feel like nothing is changing, it is continuing to plant seeds of effort, faith, and discipline, knowing that in due season the harvest will come. There is a principle that every man and woman must eventually face if they want to rise in life. Your destiny is your responsibility, not your neighbors, not your governments, not your parents, not your employers, yours. Until you accept that truth, you will keep waiting for someone else to do what only you were born to do. Too often we live in a culture of blame. People blame the economy, they blame leaders, they blame family, they blame their circumstances. But here is the reality: while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. And your response determines your direction. Responsibility is the fuel that drives destiny. Think about it. A ship on the sea may face storms, winds and waves it did not choose. But the captain cannot blame the storm for where the ship ends up. The captain must take responsibility for the wheel, adjust the sails, and steer toward the destination. Life is no different. Storms will come, challenges will rise, unfair moments will meet you, but you are still the captain of your soul. The question is not what happened to you, the question is what you will do with what happened. I have met people who came from broken families, poverty, rejection, abuse. They had every reason to live small, every excuse to give up, every justification to blame the world. But they chose differently. They took responsibility for their growth, their choices, their mindset. And today they are leaders, visionaries, entrepreneurs, and influencers. They understood that destiny is never handed to you. It is shaped by what you are willing to take responsibility for. Responsibility means ownership. It means refusing to live as a victim, even when life has been unfair. It means saying, I may not have chosen my beginning, but I will choose my future. It means getting up each day and doing what must be done, not waiting for someone else to rescue you. The moment you take responsibility for your life is the moment your destiny begins to move. Look at the story of nations. A country does not rise because of a single leader at the top. A country rises when its citizens take responsibility for their roles. Responsibility in families, in communities, in workplaces, in classrooms. The strength of a nation is measured not only by its government, but by the responsibility of its people. When fathers take responsibility for their homes, when mothers take responsibility for nurturing values, when young people take responsibility for their choices, then the destiny of that nation begins to shift. Do not underestimate the power of one responsible decision. A young student decides to study instead of wasting time, and years later becomes a voice of influence. A man decides to discipline his spending, and years later builds wealth that blesses his children. A woman decides to forgive instead of holding on to bitterness, and years later her family is restored. Responsibility is not always dramatic, but it is always powerful. The danger of avoiding responsibility is that you give away your power. The moment you say, it's not my fault, it's their fault, you hand over control of your destiny to someone else. And if you are waiting for others to change so your life can improve, you will wait forever. Responsibility says, even if they never change, I will. Responsibility says, even if the system is unfair, I will still rise. Responsibility says, I cannot control the wind, but I can adjust my sail. Ask yourself today, what are you postponing because you are waiting for someone else to do it for you? What dream have you delayed because you are waiting for perfect conditions? What gift are you hiding because you are afraid to own it? The world will not invest in your destiny until you invest in it first. Responsibility is the evidence that you believe in your own future. Think of a garden. If the gardener refuses to water, refuses to plant, refuses to weed, the garden will die. It does not matter how fertile the soil is, how much potential is hidden in the seed, how much sunshine is available. Without responsibility, the seed never becomes fruit. Your life is that garden. Responsibility is the water, the discipline, the daily work that brings your destiny to life. And understand this responsibility is not just about big moments. It is about the small choices made daily. Waking up on time, keeping your word, managing your resources, showing up prepared. These are acts of responsibility. They may look small, but together they build a life of stability and success. Destiny is not one grand event. It is the accumulation of responsible choices made over time. There is a silent tragedy happening in our world today. It is the tragedy of imitation. Too many people are spending their lives trying to become someone else, copying their style, mimicking their voice, following their path. But here is the truth: the world already has that person. What it does not have, what it desperately needs, is the original you. Think about this for a moment. Every human being is born with a unique fingerprint. Out of the billions who have walked this earth, no one else has your exact design. That is not an accident, that is the intention. It is proof that you were created to be distinct, to carry something that no one else can bring. You are not a duplicate, you are not a copy, you are not a substitute, you are an original. But the danger is this: when you ignore your uniqueness and try to become like everyone else, the world loses the gift you were meant to give. Imagine if every flower in the field decided to look the same, if every star in the sky shined the same way, if every instrument in the orchestra played the same note. The beauty would be lost, the harmony would be gone. In the same way, society suffers when you suppress your originality. Some of you are hiding because you are afraid that being different makes you unworthy. But being different is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength. It is your difference that makes you valuable. A diamond is valuable not because it looks like every stone, but because it is rare, it is distinct, it is unmatched. That is exactly what you are. Look at history. The people who changed the world were never the ones who blended in. They were the ones who dared to stand out. They were laughed at, criticized, doubted, and rejected, but they refused to kill the originality inside them. Thomas Edison refused to stop after thousands of failures because he believed in his vision. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat because she believed in her dignity. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke a dream that many thought was impossible, but it became a reality because he refused to silence his voice. They were originals, and because of that, generations are living in the fruit of their courage. Now imagine what would have happened if they had decided to play it safe, to copy others, to silence their uniqueness. The course of history would be different. That is how important originality is. That is how important you are. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is to live your whole life without ever becoming the person you were created to be. To die as a copy when you were born an original. To bury your gift because you were afraid of what others might say. To hide your vision because you thought it was too small, too strange, too impossible. Do not let comparison kill your originality. You may look at others and think, they are smarter, they are richer, they are more talented. But comparison is a thief. It blinds you to your own value. It convinces you that what you carry is not enough. Let me tell you, what you have is not only enough, it is necessary. The world cannot function without the part you were designed to play. Think of the human body. The eye cannot replace the ear. The hand cannot replace the heart. Every part is different and every part is needed. In the same way, your gift may not look like someone else's, your path may not look like theirs, but it is just as important. Your originality is your assignment. So the real question is this: will you choose to live as the copy the world wants, or will you choose to rise as the original you were born to be? Will you silence your voice because it is different, or will you speak because someone needs to hear it? Will you hide your dream because others don't understand it, or will you pursue it because it was given to you for a reason? The world does not need another imitation. The world needs the original you, the one with your voice, your vision, your creativity, your faith, your story. My friend, hear me well, you are not here by accident. You are not breathing today just to survive another day. You are here because there is a destiny waiting on you. There is a purpose calling your name. There is a future that cannot unfold without your contribution. You are the greatest asset you will ever own. Invest in yourself because the wealth you carry inside is far greater than anything you could ever touch with your hands. Ordinary men and women just like you are the ones who change the world when they dare to believe in their extraordinary impact. And the key to unlocking that impact is perseverance. The willingness to keep going when everything around you says stop, the decision to press forward when the harvest has not yet come. But destiny will not fall into your lap. It demands responsibility. Your life, your choices, your vision, they belong to you. The rise of your family, the rise of your community, the rise of your nation begins when you decide to take ownership of your future. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Take responsibility and move forward. And remember this above all: the world does not need another copy. It is waiting for the original you. The you that was designed with uniqueness. The you that carries a voice no one else can speak with. The you that holds gifts no one else can deliver. Do not die with your music still inside of you. Do not bury your treasure because of fear. Do not silence your originality because others cannot see what you see. This is your time. This is your season. This is your moment to rise, to invest in yourself, to persevere through trials, to take responsibility for your destiny, and to unleash the original you the world has been waiting for.